how many of you play with color at all? Are you here? Okay, you're here because of color. Um, we it's so vitally important, and yet we don't pay enough attention. So you are going to hear from, I'm going to call him the master of color, Dado Valentic, and Colourlab AI, which you should go over and look at right after he's done speaking. And feel free to ask questions. Feel free to enjoy the space. You want to say something on a podcast? We have podcasting areas. You want to send something home to your family? We got areas for that too. So take advantage. And I hope you enjoyed Dado's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. um, so, um, my name is Dado Valentic, as you heard already, and I am a chief color scientist of color intelligence. I'm not gonna bore you too much with slides. I will also try to make it as interactive as possible. I wanna just give you a little bit of a background so you understand, who we are, what we do, because I understand that, for many of you, this is kind of a new area. And then I'm also going to show you like our application in action, so you'll be able to see a little bit what AI can do for you now when it comes to color grading. So who's Color Intelligence? So we're actually in AI space for a very long time. So 2018 in AI is actually very long. So we started as a research laboratory in Hollywood, and we've been servicing primarily studios and your productions that you watch on Netflix, Amazon, Apple, and all this. And it's fair to say that probably there is not a single streaming channel that didn't kind of use our technology in one way or another. We do AI color and also film emulation and tools like that. We started in 2018 with the first research, and you have to understand that what we do is not really like a kind of just a kind of image processing. We will go very deep into perceptual image analysis. That's really what drives the quality of matching and color. When what is it that when we look at an image we feel that it's matching or it looks accurate? This is a really interesting subject. Back in 2020 we released first version that was we're operating on a normal computer. Before that we were like working with studios and on a really powerful machines. And then in 2023 we released generation 3, which is currently what most people are using. And it has about 30 something thousand users. And today we are going to show you version 4. This is a brand new version. It's just, like actually going to go into private beta next week, and then we're going to go into public in about 1 month. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the evolution of that process so that you understand. But so just to get what kind of AI does for you right now is this. So you have your source image, and then you pick some sort of image reference, and that image reference then translates its look and applies it to your source. So that's really what became very good at. We're really like be able to kind of take these two and translate. Um, and it really it was improving step by step as we were with every new generation of our neural engine. It was just getting better and better. But we realized that this is not necessary ultimately what we needed to do, and especially like you know with how this technology, how AI is developing. So you see, what we really wanted is we wanted to have a fully automated process. And a fully automated process means that you're able to kind of give it the whole timeline and be able to say, hey, this is my job. I don't want to just have to click on each reference and get reference to translate. Is there any way that we can automate it even further? And in order for us to be able to do that, and this is sometimes in life, you have to step back a little bit. So what we did is we said, well, let's look what is really color grading. What are we doing? So color grading is effectively a process where creative director, in terms of the film, this is always director or cinematographer, they have a vision. They have an idea how they would like their film to look, their image to look. And then they communicate that look to us. They say, I want this look like this. I want, they explain in words, sometimes in images, but they are, explaining. And then there is a person called colorist who's skilled in understanding this kind of creative brief and translating it into results. So they have two skills. They have a skill which is kind of very creative and artistic. They understand what makes a good image, and they have a technical skill, which means, oh, I know how to operate my color grading equipment, open notes, I have special plugins, I have this, I know about color science, and da, da, da. And then they kind of, put this all together, right? So that's really, if we kind of understand what really color grading is. So the question for us was following: what if, what if instead of us having to go through this kind of tools where you have to click a lot of, you know, filters, processors, adjustments, lots of sliders, lots of things, right? And then do it on shot by shot. How about if we are just to say to an agent or type to an agent, what is it that we are really trying to do? What is it that my ultimate intent is? Okay. So let's see. What we then figured is the way for us to do this is through this relatively new technology, but you're going to see this a lot happening now. And I'm pretty sure if you're involved with things like Claude and, new GPT codecs, there is a thing called agentic loop. So what's agentic loop? So in agentic loop, we tell something to an agent, usually large language model that has a little bit more kind of skills than just to respond back in text way. And then it will understand the meaning of that. It will convert that meaning and it will activate another tool, a skill. Then that skill is then going to generate result. And then we're going to loop that result until we don't get to final decision. So right, so it's a little bit smarter process, because if you just chat to an LLM, it's going to tell you, hey, this is what I think. And agents can go do something, then the main agent's going to check it, decide if it's good enough, or back and do it like that, right? So understand, so it's like a little bit more an iterative process. So we thought like, okay, so we understand. So in order for us, this idea, I type something and then I get a result, we need to build this loop, because without a loop, it's impossible for us to get the result. But how do we do that? Well, you see, there aren't any tools out there that can do this, or there were none. Now there are. But so what we went is we used Claude, which is Opus model, which is now 4.7, but you get me. It's like whatever is the best model, that's what you use. And then we build these custom tools. These are like skills. And then these skills then basically do things. So we have like a large look database. Then we have an engine, which we call PIA, and it stands for Perceptual Image Analysis. This is this decision maker to tell you, hey, is this good? What's happened? What did you adjust? What you have to change? So basically, it understands image in a way how we humans perceive it. I'll show you all of the details. It's quite interesting how it works. And then I have here a model training. So this is literally a prompt where we have prompted Claude Code to know how to color grade effectively. Hey, you're a colorist, and this is what your job is. Literally, it's like just a text prompt that we put it in, and then also we allow all users to put some on their own personal preferences. So maybe I like my looks like this. I like my look, so everybody, is different. Everybody needs to have their own ideas how to do it. So these are the tools, like think about like elements of this agentic workflow. Okay. So let me now take you through it. So basically what happens now is this. So we do agent process. Agent kind of comes to a satisfying result and gives us the output. And here is the major trick. It's great that agent gives us an output, but what do I do with this? You know, like how do I convert this into what I really need? And luckily, we have been working on this for years, and we have a something which is like our color engine, and this color engine can take agent output and interpret it into like a real-time shader, and this real-time shader converts your image in real time, and then you get instant preview. And that's very important because color grading is fast. And you know, if you kind of have to wait seconds, minutes for something to render and export, you're never going to do this. So all of this has to happen in instant. The moment we understand what's the result, we just push it in real time so you can see what happens. Okay, so I want to go now and take you through this process a little bit. Any questions so far? No, everybody happy. I think it's all going to become a little clearer when I open the application. Okay, so let me take you first through this process here. So this is my reference library. You know, I told you about the library, and this is just a very small part of that library. And what this library has got, and I can make these images myself. I can import any images I want, or I can convert my existing footage into library. The only thing that is very specific about this library is this. We don't just save an image, we track a lot of information about it. So for example, here I have exposure, and this is very important. You see, humans don't see light in you know, waveforms, right? Measurements. We really see light in stops. So perceptually, we need to understand what stops of exposure we have and how they distribute it inside the shot. That's a most important element for look perception. How is my contrast and exposure distributed? The second thing we do analyze is something called IPT. IPT is mother of all perceptual color spaces. So it's like a, you know, Dolby has got a version of it. Many people are using it. It's like a very specific color space that is the closest to our rods and cones. You know, you see, it sees like a green, red, yellow, blue, which is really how we are perceiving different colors. And it has a luminance level, which is very close to how humans perceive luminance. Then it tells you the saturation, overall gamut and peak saturation. There's two things in saturation. So like you can say, my overall image is saturated, but I have a certain color that's peaking. This is all different values, again, have effect on your perception. Then it measures contrast. It scores a contrast. Contrast is difference between darkest and brightest part, has a huge impact on emotion of an image. And then ultimately tells us what's the color palette. Okay. And this is very interesting part. You see, this is all the information we know about this particular shot, from what cinematography it is, to what kind of textures got, what kind of lighting is got, and even what's the scene intent. This one's, for example, intimacy. The mood is tense, vulnerable, focus, and so on. So this is achieved by us using a very sophisticated vision encoders. Vision encoders are types of neural networks that are really good in analyzing content of an image, and that we train them to be able to interpret image and understand what's the user's ultimate intent. So now, when we are matching, we're not just using image, we understand all of this information. What is this image really representing? Not just physically, but also emotionally. What is the absolute intent that we're trying to achieve with that image? What the viewer needs to experience when they do this. Okay? So this is you know, the kind of that that part that agent needs to read, because agent, whatever grade it makes, reanalyzes the result and compares it to what you selected, and based on those statistics is able to understand whether it performed good thing. The same thing happens with your source material. Source material gets analyzed not as much, okay? And then what we do is then we have like now finally our color timeline, and now we can go and say, okay, let's try to do some grading now, right? So I'll just show you the examples. So for example, let's say this, my reference, and I just press A. So now it translated the kind of feel, but you have to understand, it's not just looking at an image anymore. It's looking at all of this perceptual data. And it knows, oh, this one is exterior, this is car, this is this is that. I say, no, let me try this look, or let me try this one. Now, the matching operates in around 33 milliseconds. So we slow it down for the UI. You see, I can just quickly just click on any of these, right? And I can just audition them and decide, how they want. But I say maybe, oh, I can tweak it further. I can just go and increase my luminance match. I can then fine tune my chrominance match. I can then decide how much saturation I want, and so on and so on, right? So I have like a, ability to be a little bit more, kind of, I can understand, maybe this one is good, but I want to have a little bit more luminance match, so I want to make it like this darker. So you have like some control. In the past, we used to have a live gamma gain control, but we're trying to make it simpler. We want to give you just sliders that help you understand. And everything you move here, the engine is memorizing and it's understanding. It's like, oh, wait, this is the user intent. User actually want to do this. Now, if internet gods allow me, I'm going to try to show you something. I'm going to say, I want to have a high contrast scene for a car chase moment. Okay, and I'm going to say, give me a good look. Okay, so now I'm talking to Claude. So now Claude's going to go and say, okay, let me see what user wants. I'm going to look at my database now and say my database right now that I loaded in my laptop is not huge, and it gives me some options. Now look, I granted you will be looking at these options, you're going to be a little bit surprised. And the reason why it's a little bit surprising is because Claude is not so interested in actually content of an image, more at the kind of your desire, what you're trying to do. So I can preview them straight away. I can say, let me see this one. But also it gives you a little description. It tells you, hey, watch. Fragrance, the tale of Killer 4, it's extreme close-up with high contrast, la la la. It gives you a little explanation as well why it thinks these are the good looks for you, right? And I can preview them straight away. Look, this one, this one, this one, so you can say, oh my God, this is my look. I'm super happy, so you can actually like use Claude to help you come up with the desired look, with the look that you want, that you think it's the right look for you. Okay, so now let's kind of, go, for example, for some of these looks. I don't know, let me just go and pick something that, let's say I'll pick this one. And now I'm going to go to the next shot. Completely different, right? It looks nothing like the previous shot. I'll match it. It's going to do a really good job. Then I come to this one. Again, this shot is like exterior. It's warm, cloud, boom. It just really understands, what's your desire. It understands the sky, the feel that you want. Then I have a completely different look. Oh my God, this is like a guy in the jungle. He's like, hey, my God, how can I match that for you? Don't worry, just press an A, and this basically then works like that. Then I have another shot. Oh my God, it's like a fight scene, right? What's this gonna happen? Boom, and it just really adjusts it for you. So it adapts itself to what your source is, what's the mood in the source, what's your desire, and it just the look based on that. So it's very, very powerful like this. I think what we managed to do is we managed to, go just, I have to just reset this one more time. We have managed to go to a place where it's now a little bit easier for us to kind of build looks and match, create, let's say, just a consistency amongst different shots on the timeline. And you see, as I told you, 4K real time on a laptop. You don't need a heavy machine for this. We run this on a normal IMAX, the $500 one. So it's nothing really there for you to worry about. This is really high quality color monitor, trust me. The colors look a little bit better on my screen. All right, so there we go. So now what you do with this, you can just click here, export, and you can render everything out. Or we have then option for you. If you're a DaVinci Resolve user, you will get your timeline populated with a node tree that you want. And the first node, your IDT node, will be our node with this match, and it will output whatever color space you want to work in. So you will say, hey, I work in aces. So it will be outputting your aces, but the first node will hold that match and IDT everything for you. So everything will be compressed into this first node. And after that, you can do everything you want later on. And it's real time. There is no rendering. You just press it. It goes to DaVinci. And then you just, put your ODT or whatever you want. If you're a Premiere user, we have a good news. This new technology, this new tech stack we built allows us to build a panel inside Premiere. Originally in version 3, we have been sending things back and forth, and we are eliminating this in version 4. So you'll be able to have a panel with all these controls, and you'll be just able to perform exactly this inside Premiere. For Final Cut, we met with Apple yesterday. We'll see what we're going to do there. So you have options. You can just use the application that's standalone, or you could be just communicating with your main editorial application and then be able to match things in and out. Now, I have much more to show you here. There is a button called Match All, for example. I'm just going to show you the speed of matching. So I don't want to make this like a too technical and too long of a demo, but I'll just show you like for you to understand. Like what I can do is I can say, hey, you be auto reference, so you choose the reference for me. Whatever you think it's the best reference for the best shot. Maybe I don't want everything to match. I want everything to look the best possible way for the shot that I have, right? So then you say auto-reference, and then you see the first shot is going to be the choice that system's going to match. So here, oh, we got this one. No, I think I have to just give it a little bit more life. There we go. Then here, what's this one? Oh, it picked this night shot. It also remembered what I was using in the past. Oh, this one wanted to make it look like sunset. Interesting, right? So there is a way how you can very tightly control these things, how you can like be very specific, to how, references, what reference should go to where it looks. I can show you this. It's very hard with one hand with a microphone, another hand talking about how it works. But basically it's super powerful. And I can just go like this and say, okay, listen, I'm gonna just reset everything. And I just want to show you this. This is me matching, I don't know how many shots. Watch this. Done. 1 hour timeline under 8 seconds. This is how long it takes. Around 1,500 shots, it's matched in about 8 seconds using automated references and everything like that. So what used to take 8 hours now takes about 8 seconds. This is where we are right now. So the question is, what, like people always ask me, oh my God, what's happening now with color grading? I really think that color grading is moving away from you clicking around and learning difficult user interfaces, adjusting curves, saturations, and all of that. I mean, this is all wonderful. Do this as a fine kind of part of the process. I think that overall color matching process is supposed to be and will be fully automated and promptable as well. You know, the more we work on this Claude skills that we're going to open, that you guys are going to be able to build yourself, you'll be able to decide what you want Claude to do because Claude has a control over the system. You'll be able to build yourself automations that suit you and your workflow. That's really where we want to see this go. This is long pause now for the end of it. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Please let me know. Please. Yeah, it's gonna correct. It's gonna correct. Go on. Just go ahead. Go ahead. So she asked, what if the clip that you're using is overexposed? Okay, so that's absolutely no issue. The first thing we do when we check exposure. So the automated matching, remember that first graph where we do stops of exposure? This is the first thing we'll try to adjust. And as long as you have some detail in the highlight and everything, it will be recovered, you know. But exposure is the minimum you will get matched. That's we can't even continue with color until we didn't complete the exposure part. So the matching doesn't happen in one go. It happens very quickly, but what it happens like in steps. So we match exposure, then contrast, then gamut, and you know. So we have like a steps that we go through. And first thing, always exposure, and it's very easy. Like exposure is always balanced, and it's balanced so that if you have any skin, it is always going to sit around 0 stops.
Is there any kind of difference if you got log or raw files?
Yeah. So interestingly, you know, we support all of them. Um, I'll show you. I think I have one clip here. Um, okay, this is for example. Uh, maybe this is one. Let me see. Add it to the timeline. Okay, look. So here in your settings, you can choose what kind of color space you want to work in, right? And then when I do a match, right, it is you know recognizing in this case that this is a shot. I just have to switch off my auto matcher. It's going to recognize that this is, you know, a log C and all of this. However, what's really crazy, because we have a now separate contrast matcher, you sometimes just leave it log and it's still like, you know, I mean, it's certainly like it gives a little bit nicer rounded contrast when you're using IDTs and you're telling it, hey, I'm using this material. But if you miss it by any chance, it's not tragic. It works pretty well. Like we've been testing a lot like a kind of AB camera interviews, and ones like you know, Canon and Sony. This is the typical kind of problem, and we didn't do any color space conversion and been getting really really good results. So I'm not suggesting you should do this, but I'm saying like if you end up in that situation, you'll be okay. You won't be completely thrown out.
What do I do if some of my clips have adjustment layers above them?
And what would be in adjustment layer?
Well, it it could be a lookup table, for example.
You do it after then. What you would do is you would do the first balance like this, or what you could do is you could apply your lookup table on a clip and you say, this is the look that I want, export it as a still image,
Okay.
and use our engine to match the look with your lookup table. You get me? So I didn't show you this as well. We have here a panel that hasn't been populated, which is called film emulation panel, and you will be able to load your own LUTs into this panel. So this is where we're gonna do your film emulation, grain halation, and diffusion and lens simulation. So this is all part of the matching process, but it hasn't been integrated yet, so I haven't shown it yet.
Are we able to like take our timelines and import them into here, or?
Oh yeah, very good question. So to import your timeline, so with DaVinci Resolve, we're going to have like a direct import. You're just gonna press button. Otherwise, we have a here import timeline, and we support OTIO. And it's a universal format. DaVinci supports it natively. Premiere supports it. Avid supports it. And for XMLs, it translates XML into OTIO. So you can import almost any timeline. Yeah.
One more.
Okay, so I have several questions. So the first question is uh, the library part. So do you need to read my metadata to recognize the color details, or you don't need any?
No, no,
You
no,
just this
no, no.
yeah.
So what I do is I go into my references.
Mm-hmm.
I say import my reference. I have to select the bin first. I say import reference. Then I go and find an image. Oh, actually, I have some Midjourney images here. I promised I was not going to use any real film images. One second. All right, this one, yeah. I open this image. So this is just an image.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it is. Oh no. And then I tell it, oh no, and then I just say, oh, this one's not gonna work. One second. Let me just go and import another one. Oh no, this batch. My bad. Anyway, you just click on an image. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Now these are not good. Sorry. I'll explain why. Results. One second. All right, let's say this one. Yeah, this is just some testing I was doing, but it's an image, and I just import it, and then it does. You see this in on NAB, the high technology conference internet is just so high technology. It's just fucking amazing, man. And now I imported it. It took it 8 seconds. Normally it takes like a less than a second. So here it generated the reference. And then what you do is you click on it and you say show details, and it created all the analysis. So that's the process. And you do it only once. And that creates also a file, which is called XO3, and that's shareable. So I could send you an XO3, and we have a mobile application as well. And you can load this into your mobile, and you can film in real time with this look applied onto your mobile phone. So it's a portable format. And we have a partnership with a company called Honor, and they also support XO3 files. And we are just working now with Ari, and there it's also going to be supported there. So the XO3 is becoming like this kind of look format that is more than just a lot. So it's like, got all this extra information.
Okay, so my second question is when I use Cloud to prompting my styles, do I need to buy extra tokens to use it, or I just use your credits or anything else?
So we have ability original. Before I came to NAB, my plan was to us to provide you with tokens, so you kind of get so many tokens, right? But the more we were talking to users, the more we were told that most people already have some form of Claude subscription, and they want to use their own subscription, so they don't have to feel like that they have to buy my tokens, and they don't want to be limited by use. So we're going to change that. So as long as you have a Claude subscription, you'll be able to use it. So I think this is the way we're going to go. And also, if we give you your Claude, you will be able to make your own skills, because that's really, I think, the secret is going to be when you start building your own skills. Because what you will be able to do is you're able to say, I work only on social media projects, and my project needs to look like this, like this, like this. Don't give me those cinematic, stupid looks with night and blue neon. I only want to look very naturalistic. Can you please make my videos always look like this? And Claude's going to say, of course, no worries. This is how I'm going to build you a skill. And bam, you're never going to, it will be very limited to what you need to do. And I think this is the use scenario that most people that we spoke to during the show have told us that they feel that it's probably better use of Claude than us limiting them to how they use it. No, go.
So my last question
They're
is,
good questions. They're good
yeah,
questions.
you mentioned that the cloud part is a 4K preview.
Mhm.
So does it when I output them, does it decrease my resolution, or I can keep my original resolution?
It's always 4K. So whatever your resolution is, we support it. We support 4K in real time, but the cloud don't worry, nothing goes into the cloud. You do everything on your laptop. The only thing we do goes into the cloud is that little information, what the shot is, so the cloud can do the visual encoding and can tell us, oh, this is the content of the shot, and then we interpret that and make the metadata. So that's the only thing. But you don't need cloud for any high resolution. This is fine. I mean, I'm using, guys, now my mobile phone for internet, and you saw it. Creating a reference takes just a few seconds. So it's not like a big deal.
You are a brave man. Okay, last question.
Is 4K the limit?
It is, yeah. But it doesn't mean we couldn't open it. But right now, for previews and for everything, 4K is enough. And then what you do is then you can then always send it to Resolve and do whatever. We'll open your material, but we'll let you work in 4K. And if you take into account all the processing we're doing, and we're gonna add film grain, 4K is plenty for processing. And we want to be able to work on a smallest Mac Mini. So for me, the 599 Mac Mini is the kind of reference machine. As long as that machine can do all the work, then we have a good code. So I don't want you to have to buy big systems. As long as the smallest, simplest Mac is performing, then you're good. And right now we're Mac only, and it's gonna be like this until we haven't finished the whole beta, and then we'll make Windows version as well. But these Macs are super good for AI, so we recommend that really as a good workflow.
So with that, we're going to close our classroom day. Dado, we didn't
Thank
call him
you.
Mr. Color for nothing. I mean, it's truly amazing. So thank you all for being a great audience.
Thank you.
See you
Thank
tomorrow in
you.
the Creator Lab. Thank you.